Got our players seated here. Looks like we do have. There is Tamao, who's actually the reigning UK national champion. Back when national championships were a thing, Tamao was the last winner there. I was there at that event and got to watch him win with a Vespiquen Vileplume deck. Feels like forever ago.
Oh, wow.
But
gonna
be going up against Yajima, a player from Japan. So we do have a player from England going up against a player from Japan.
Here we go.
Representing the World Championships. But wow, that's a couple Origin Form Palkia V-Star in the prize cards.
I was about to say we were about to explain decks, but I guess you can kind of see the deck here from those unfortunate prize cards for Kai there. But we are going to be starting off here soon. They haven't flipped their Pokemon yet, so it looks like we're just waiting. Oh, here we go.
Ceremonial fist bump.
Yeah, I was about to say the infamous fist bump there, starting off here with Kai going first with the Palkia deck, and we are going to see that Hisuian Heavy Ball that made a pretty important appearance in the last matchup here, and we are seeing it again. So many players are playing this, but I cannot wait to see what Kai thinks looking at these prize cards, because that is kind of tricky there. At least we do have the Sobble grab off of the prize cards, but now at least, you know, this is one of the benefits of the Hisuian Heavy Ball. You get to know your prize cards right away. You know, you don't have to spend that time searching. You get to look for sort of, think about other strategies rather than just searching through your deck looking for prizes. So that's also just a nice little up there. Putting the prize cards back now, Hisuian Heavy Ball goes into the prize cards after grabbing the Sobble out and benching the Sobble too.
Yep, and when you look at those prize cards, you might not know what you're going up against quite yet. You see a Snorlax, it's either one of two things probably. It's either one of those Inteleon single prize toolbox decks, or it is a Mewtwo V-Union deck. And as you can see right there, this is
now we know.
a Mewtwo V-Union deck. So now looking and seeing two V-Star prized, you're not as concerned because this isn't a matchup where you need to be like trading prize cards back and forth. So even though at first glance you play the Hisuian Heavy Ball and you're like, uh-oh, there's two V-Star in here. And now that you know you're up against this deck, oh, okay, I won't need those for a while.
Yeah, it almost seems like you really have to pace yourself and be so much more strategic versus just aggro, which is usually how you see Origin Form Palkia decks play out. But this is definitely going to be a tricky matchup here for Kai. So, and I'm sure Tamao has a lot of experience with the Mewtwo V-Union deck as well. It is so cool seeing, you know, a new deck make its rounds for NAIC and then show up so prominently here on the world stage as well. So I'm sure Tamao has run the rounds with it and is comfortable with the deck and just searching through the deck now, making sure that he knows what's in the prizes here. I like how we have the Mewtwo arm up there now. Yep. The pieces, they're coming out.
Yep, for those who are not familiar, the Pokemon V-Union is a mechanic where you need all 4 pieces. You need to get all of them into your discard pile, and when you do that, you can play them onto your bench. It's 4 cards that combine to form one gigantic Pokemon. For a long time, you know, we've talked about it a lot. It is one that looked like kind of a fun gimmick, maybe not meant for competitive play. And then all of a sudden, NAIC happened with Sander and Maze and their crew, and turns out that, yeah, Mewtwo V-Union is really difficult to knock out.
Ooh, I like this. We see a Yellowhorn here. You don't get to see that too often, so that's very awesome. Confusing both Pokemon here for Tamao. So both the Snorlax and the Sobble are now confused. Yep. We also did see the Rose Tower get put into play, which is draw up until you have 3 cards in hand as well, which I believe was also used too. And we are going to see a Tool Jammer come down onto that Snorlax.
Yep, probably just trying to thin out cards so you can Gormandize for a few more cards at the end of the turn. As you mentioned, this is a very methodical deck. It is going to be more slow-paced. It is all about kind of exhausting your opponent's resources. So there's no rush here. Normally, you're trying to power up Pokemon as quickly as you can, trying to get attacks off on turn 2. And this deck can do that sometimes. You can get a turn 2 Mewtwo V-Union if everything goes well. But for the most part, you're fine just taking it easy and trying to set up for that kind of ultimate late game with Mewtwo V Union, lots of healing and lots of Silene to get back some cards.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that Galarian Meowth on the bench there to discard cards as well, which is very convenient when you have a bunch of pieces of Mew in your hands that are meant to go into the discard so you can summon whenever. And it looks like there's 2 in hand.
Yeah, there's already 2 in the discard. So yeah, next turn we are going to see a Mewtwo V Union if nothing changes here. So now off to an excellent start. There's no Mewtwo V Union pieces in the prize cards, but oh, the Marnie, that's going to throw a wrench into things.
Yeah, absolutely, Marnie. So both players are shuffling their hands and then putting it at the bottom of their deck. So all of the cards that they had in hand actually are going to the bottom, and then Kai, who activated the Marnie, gets 5 cards, and Tamao is going to draw 4.
Yeah, so that was probably not what Tamao wanted to see. Had the perfect hand, had the other 2 V Union pieces, had an Ultra Ball.
Yeah, that is quite unfortunate, actually.
They just all go to the bottom, and you got to find them all over again. And Mewtwo V Union is a difficult card to find. It's not considered a basic Pokemon. It's not considered an evolution Pokemon, so you can't quick ball for it. There's only a few specific cards that search for any Pokemon that let you even search for it in the first place. So having those pieces go to the bottom is really frustrating.
All right, so Kai here evolved into the Drizzile for an Evolution Incense to search out that Origin form Palkia V-Star, evolved into that, and is now scoop up netting the Drizzile into the Palkia, and then throwing down another Drizzile onto the bench here to search out any item card from the deck as well. What do you think, Kyle, is Kai's strategy here against Mewtwo V Union? I would assume Kai has practice against this deck because it has had so much popularity amongst players. So what do you think is the best options here for Kai as far as card search and overall strategy against Mewtwo?
Yeah, I think Kai's already kind of doing it hand disruption plus attacking as quickly as possible. You know, if you can disrupt your opponent's hand enough times and prevent Mewtwo V Union from ever coming into play in the first place, and that's an easy way to win. So yeah, just play those cards like Marnie. Unfortunately, these kinds of builds these days are more focused on playing Roxanne, which you can only play after your opponent has taken so many prize cards. So Roxanne is not going to be very effective, but we did see the Marnie. I'm not sure how many Kai is playing, but you know, if we could see just like Marnie turn after turn, plus attacks like that one for the knockout, I think that's how you can put so much pressure on your opponent that they can't recover.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did see that knockout there on the Snorlax. Luckily, Tamao has another one to put up there into the actives to still utilize that Gormandize ability, which is really its major, I think that is its prominent draw power of the deck, is that Gormandize ability. So it is very, very important. We are seeing a Miltank come out here as well, which is another very important Pokemon in this deck too, if you want to hop into that, Kyle.
Yeah, Miltank, of course, got that Miracle Body ability. Very annoying for decks that focus on Pokemon V. Oh, we do see a Crushing Hammer.
And it hits.
Going to discard that Water Energy. Very, very annoying, and it's all about being annoying at this stage in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Not fun to play against, that's for sure.
Yeah, the Palkia deck does have Inteleon to attack with, a way to deal with Miltank. Oh.
We're going to see another Crushing Hammer, and it's another head. Okay. So both of those energies being discarded off the Origin form Palkia for Kai, I'm sure very unfortunate to see on his end there.
Yeah, you do get the V-Star power with Palkia, so it's not the end of the world. You can get those back, but yeah, you're just trying to be as annoying as possible in this stage of the game. Yeah, Inteleon can knock out Miltank, but you do need to be able to power it up. So if you're forcing your opponents to do things like use their V-Star power to re-energize their Palkia, then that might be an opportunity for them to miss an attack with the Inteleon, and it's all just about buying time, getting that Mewtwo V Union up and running, and then going from there.
Yeah, it's like, well, I know it's almost helping you having your energy in the discard, but I can also make you waste your V-Star power, which is also a plus as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, but we see now 2 Snorlaxes out with that Miltank that blocks the attacks as well. And then we are back over to Kai now. That Rose Tower actually has been pulling some weight here for Tamao as well.
Yep.
filling up the hand with those 3, and then the Gormandize kind of finishing off. Having so much draw support off of the Gormandize, and like every new turn, it does end your turn, but every new turn you have a whole new hand full of cards.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons this deck is able to work right now is because we're seeing so much less of Marnie and more of Roxanne. Again, you can't play Roxanne until your opponent has taken a certain number of prize cards. So a lot of decks don't even play Marnie anymore. You know, in the older days, people would be playing 3, 4 Marnie in their deck, and Snorlax is a little tougher to use because, you know, you'd end your turn, and then your opponent would just put your hand on the bottom of your deck, and you just lose all your cards. But, you know, now that people are only playing 1 or 2 Marnie, you can afford to do this kind of slow Snorlax strategy, and you'll be relatively confident that you'll be able to build up the resources you need to get there.
That's very true, especially because, you know, you kind of assume playing against Origin Form Palkia, they probably, you know, potentially have a heavy line of Irida as well. So if that is in the deck, then there isn't going to be a ton of disruption. At least it's subtracting some of that too, which is always nice. But yeah, like not being able to use Roxanne or not having to worry about Roxanne must feel very good being a Pokemon TCG player right now.
Yep, so the Radiant Greninja come down now. See the concealed cards just to draw some extra cards. Kai just trying to do whatever it takes to keep the pressure on, keep getting knockouts. That's really all you can do. Just keep attacking, keep hoping that your opponent is unable to find Mewtwo V-Union, because once that thing comes out, the game is going to slow way down. It can heal 200 damage off itself every turn, and we're going to see, if we get to that point, Tamao is going to reduce the number of Pokemon on the bench so that the subspace swell doesn't do enough damage to even punch through the 200 healing every turn, and it's just kind of going to turn into a stalemate.
Yeah, it almost just like burns down your resources until it wins. And that feels very bad, I'm sure, being a Origin Form Palkia player. But we did see the evolution there into the Shady Dealings Inteleon to search out 2 trainer cards. And then one of them was the Evolution Incense for another Inteleon as well. I believe it was the Quick Shooting,
Yeah,
though.
Rare Candy.
There we go. Oh, yeah, just Rare Candying straight into. I think that is the Quick Shooting Inteleon there. And then we are going to see that V-Star ability being taken advantage of here. So we're going to see 3 Water Energy taken out of the discard and applied to the board state for Kai in any way possible. We also saw the attach for turn as well. So now there's 4 Water Energies on the board state for Kai.
Yeah, this is a pretty strong position for Kai right now. The quick shooting does make a pretty big difference. Allows you to just rack up some damage. The game's going to take a while. You can maybe shorten the game by a turn or 2 with these quick shooting abilities. Yeah, another knockout. Still no Mewtwo V-Union in sight for Tamao. It was looking so promising at the beginning. Got 2 pieces in the discard on the first turn, You
were talking about it, Kyle. That Marnie was just the disruption that Kai needed. And it's not like Kai knows that Tamao has those pieces, you know? So that was just a very fortunate turn of events there for Kai.
Yeah, Kai knew that Tamao had 7 cards in hand.
Yes.
Just used Gormandize. It's like, I'd rather have you have 4 cards in hand than 7, but...
Especially in those early stages of the turns that are so important for setup as well. Because now we kind of see Tamao being a little bit on the back foot here.
And we do see one of the most unique cards, Peonia. So you get to put 3 of your prize cards into your hand and then put 3 cards back.
Yeah, so we've seen a couple times in these matches. It's always kind of fun to watch on stream where they go back to.
And yeah, you don't have to shuffle up the ones that you've replaced. So you know the location of the 3 that you've put back. So it's not like the Hisuian Heavy Ball. So now Tamao knows that these 3 I put back are in these positions. So if you ever take a prize card, you know, maybe I want this exact card, or I know that I put back 3 garbage cards, so I'm going to pick from the other 3.
As long as you have a good enough memory for it. I assume players probably form strategies of like, all right, exactly how you said, Kyle. I'm just going to put my ones that I don't want on the left here. All right.
Yep, you are allowed to take notes as well. So
yes, that's true.
Some players will take notes and be like, yep, I put these here. It's very embarrassing when you forget. as I've done many times.
Okay, so we did see that piece of the Mewtwo V Union come out. It is the leg here
Right.
into hands, and we are going to see it discarded here with a quick ball. So discarding one card and searching for any basic Pokemon from Tamao's deck.
We almost got the whole body.
Almost the whole body. Yeah, we're just missing one at this point now. Grabbing another Miltank off of the quick ball for Tamao.
Yep. I think just trying to thin out cards, you know, take advantage of the Rose Tower. Got the Pukumuku in hand to draw an extra card. It's a little awkward because you can use the Galarian Meowth, but if you draw the Mewtwo V Union piece, you want to use that ability to discard the Mewtwo V Union. So it's a little awkward. Oh, but that's not a bad draw, Professor's Research.
Yeah, not at all. The deck is looking a little bit thin there for Tamao, but I don't think it's anything to worry about too much at this point, especially if we do see that research into another piece. Well, we won't see it this turn because the Peonia happened already this turn, but potentially in the future.
Right. It looks like we are going to see the Galarian Meowth ability used. Seen Tamao use it several times already. It's a funny card because I think the intention of it is to go search for your Galarian Berserker in your hand, but the main function of it has been discard 2 cards from your hand, and then you look through your deck and go, oh, what a surprise, there's no Berserker.
Yes, exactly. It's always funny seeing effects like not even like at all utilized off of a card, but just using the discard instead, which is just a whole other strategy with the card, which is just cool. We did see the Rose Tower, and it was a draw into that Crushing Hammer, which did hit heads.
These are just straight up energy removal.
Yes, definitely. And all 3 of them, have hit heads now. And again, that V-Star ability for the Origin form Palkia has already been used. So those energies are staying in the discard unless there's some sort of energy retrieval that Kai can use.
We see the Pal Pad there, a crucial part to the kind of infinite loop you can get to once you're fully set up, but still no 4th piece of the Mewtwo V Union for Tamao. So falling behind quite a bit in this game. We'll see if it's too far. I don't think so quite yet, but things are starting to get a little scary.
Yeah, definitely, especially with such a thin deck there as well. So we are going to see the Gormandize, which ends Tamao's turn, but draws into that fresh 7 in hand, and then we are back over to Kai.
Yeah, that Crushing Hammer as well was really, really important because it prevented the Radiant Greninja from attacking this turn. We could have seen a double knockout on both the Miltank and the Galarian Meowth, and at that point it becomes really scary for Tamao. But that Crushing Hammer knocks one of those energy off, and now Radiant Greninja probably not an option this turn unless Kai plays some wacky card like an energy switch.
Yeah, that's what's so great about Greninja, Radiant Greninja, is like it's not a V, so it goes through Miltank, which is very nice to use. It's just a secondary attacker that you have. So not only do you have that amazing draw ability off the concealed cards, but you also have the option to attack into those one-prize Pokemon to take, double knockouts on turns, which is huge. All right, we are seeing a level ball here now for that Drizzile, going straight into a Shady Dealings off of the Drizzile, searching through the deck for a card, and it's going to be the Path to the Peak, which is going to block abilities of Pokemon Vs.
Yeah, so I think the main purpose here was just to get rid of the Rose Tower so that Tamao doesn't have the extra draw power. I don't think there's anything that really affects on Tamao's side. There's not really any rule box Pokemon abilities that are being featured prominently here. Just
also
saying,
does block the Greninja as well. So just to note that Kai will no longer have that ability as long as the Path to the Peak is in play. But still, just that Rose Tower, getting out of play. And
we see here that Kai drew the Hisuian Heavy Ball off the prize card, so we see it played once again. Grabbing another.
There we go. Yes, grabbing the Origin form Palkia V. Still pretty wild. Those were all in the prize cards, but hey, it's working out here for Kai, getting them out.
Yep.
All right, so we did see the energy attachment there on the Radiant Greninja. And then we are going to see the quick shooting being turned to the side, that Inteleon, just to make sure the players know it's already been used. And then the knockout there on another Snorlax hitting the discard pile for Kai, going down another prize card at 3 prize cards now.
Now we see another Peonia, so maybe seeing the other 3 prize cards for Tamao. And this feels like it's pretty close to needing to be the turn where Mewtwo V Union comes out. There may be a little bit of time still, but I think right now you're like, I really need to get this V Union out here.
You're stressing a little bit, for sure.
Tamao does only have, purposely only put out 2 Pokemon so that Kai has to go through the Mewtwo V Union to get the last knockout, right? There's not going to be an easy last target, but a lot of these Palkia decks do play Echoing Horn. So ideally, you would kind of clear your board of these easy targets by the time you get to that point, just so they can't kind of steal the last knockout for the game. But we see another Snorlax comes down. This is looking really rough.
That deck is looking thin as well. We do see the trekking shoes, so draw 1 card and you can either keep it or discard it. And Tamao discarded that Ultra Ball into a Quick Ball instead. I can't tell how many cards are left in deck, but it doesn't look like much. We did see the Pal Pad to shuffle. I believe it was the Silene. I didn't see the other supporter.
Yeah, the Team Yell's Cheer.
There we go. So both recovery, I guess, cards in a way. They make sure that you don't deck out, essentially, because you're always retrieving cards back out of your discard pile. Yep. But that is still a very thin situation. But we are going to see that last Mewtwo V Union piece, the arm.
The awkward part here is that, yeah, you get both of, you get the 4th piece in there, but you don't have an energy card. So there's no way to use Union Gain and kind of get this train moving. While looking through the deck, I think there may be 1 energy card left. So you can get Mewtwo V Union down, but you can't power it up. And if your opponent just, you know, plays a boss's order, bring it up and hits it before it's charged up to use that super regeneration, it's just an easy 2-hit knockout, perhaps, and then game over. So now Tamao's yet again in an awkward position, has to maybe Gormandize for the 20th time this game.
Oh my goodness, here we go. Gormandize.
The old turn,
7 cards
turn
in
8
hand.
Gormandize.
Yeah, that's a lot of eating there for the Snorlax, taking a little cat nap now. Yep. All right, back over to Kai. We had the card draw here. We are going to see that quick shooting pop off. First thing for Kai onto the Gormandize Snorlax.
Yeah, I think we'll see Radiant Greninja come in for the attack this turn and try to get a double knockout if possible. Go down to 1 prize card and make it really difficult for Tamao to do anything. And in fact, if Kai plays Echoing Horn, it almost locks up the game, because eventually you're going to be able to Echoing Horn, play up boss's orders, and get that 1 last knockout. So I think we'll see Kai line up the attack with Radiant Greninja, knock out the 2 benched Pokemon, and that's a clear path to victory.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I'm wondering, all right, this is looking like that's what we're going to see. Oh, we did see the scoop up net there on the Shady Dealings and Inteleon, just rebenching that Sobble. So always very nice to do, because then you kind of have like infinite resources if you think about it. If you have multiple scoop up nets and multiple Shady Dealings abilities, you just continue searching for what you need every single turn, which is one of the reasons why the Inteleon Shady Dealings line is so good. It's just card search for the pieces that you need. Which we are going to see that Melanie and the Echoing Horn as well, Kyle, pulled out of the deck by Kai.
Just revealing it, saying, yeah, I do have this.
Yeah.
You might not want to play it.
Keep this in mind.
Yeah, you might not want to play it this turn, because if your opponent has enough scoop up nets, they could just scoop up all the single prize Pokemon. So probably just going to wait for next turn.
We do see the Melanie getting played, though, so attaching an energy card from the discard pile there to the Origin Form Palkia, and then drawing 3 cards as well.
Kai has done everything in their power to be in a winning position in this game. There we go. Retreating into the Radiant Greninja, we will see this double knockout, and this has been excellent strategy all game long.
Yeah, absolutely. Kai seems very well versed with this deck for sure. And here we go. You love to see it on the stream, Kyle. The Radiant Greninja
Moonlight
double
Shuriken.
knock. Yes, the Moonlight Shuriken. I know, and that's such a cool name too for a move as well. So, and then unfortunately, just a lone Gormandized Snorlax with 20 damage counters. There, or 2 damage counters.
We will see the final boss finally emerge from the discard pile, I believe.
The final boss being assembled here. Unfortunately, Kai's already down to 1 prize card left. So, and really, I'm interested to hear what you think, Kyle, about like the time constraints. Because I mean, we're at like 25 minutes now left for our matches here. So,
yeah, I'm really interested to see what Tamao is thinking in this spot.
Me too.
This is a situation where you might think, oh, this game is probably done, especially when your opponent reveals the Echoing Horn. You might be like, oh, yeah, let's just move on to the next one. But Tamao may be thinking there's a way out still. You know, if you can get all of the Pokemon out of your discard pile with things like Team Yell's Cheer, if you have any other recovery cards, that's the way you can play around Echoing Horn. But I think there's just too many Pokemon in the discard pile. There's just going to be an Echoing Horn target. But here it comes. The Mewtwo V Union has hit the board. All 4 pieces have been assembled. This gigantic 310 HP Pokemon.
Woo.
Got 4 attacks, got all sorts of stuff going on. And there we see Scoop Up Net going to pick up the Snorlax, so there's no more easy targets. And all that's left are the 4 pieces of Mewtwo.
Just one giant Pokemon assembled into the active now, and nowhere for Kai to go here unless it's with that Echoing Horn strategy as well. And then we did see the energy attached to it. That is a twin energy, I believe.
Yep, that's just going to provide 1 energy on Mewtwo V Union, but you can use Union Gain to get back 2 Psychic Energy, and then you're pretty much ready to go. But yeah, the question is, will there be anything Tamao can do to play around the Echoing Horn at this point? You have to assume that your opponent also has Boss's Orders, Cross Switcher, some way to, you know, Echoing Horn and then bring up that Pokemon and knock it out.
Yeah, we are seeing the Team Yell's Cheer, as we talked about before. It was in hand, and now it's being played to search out those cards from the discard pile. This is one of the recovery cards that Mewtwo V Union does play. We do see the Silene being pulled off of it. And then 2 Galarian Meowths as well. So that's going to be shuffled.
Accidentally took the Team Yell's Cheer.
As well, yeah, that's a good correction there.
That one stays in the discard,
Yes, that does, after being played. So we are seeing that shuffled together, thin shuffles there.
That would be wild if it shuffled itself back into.
Yes, that would be very wild. Okay, so.
All right, only took the entire game, but here is the Union Gain.
There is the Union Gain attaching those 2 energies.
I wonder if Kai in that 15-card hand has any way to win.
that is very true. All right, so we do see the Path to the Peak get bumped for a training court.
There we go.
And then here we go. There we go. There's the Echoing Horn.
Yep, Snorlax still in there.
Hitting the bench there, and then we are going to see both of those catchers for
Little cross switchers, that'll be it.
Yes, cross switch. I know, I always mistake them for custom catchers, Kyle. That was my era, the custom catchers. But same thing except for an extra switch in there. But yes.
It's like a cross Guzma.
Yeah, it's two effects there. Yeah, the double cross switcher there, which is a strategy that's pulled off so often by the Origin form of Palkia decks. It's one of like the most powerful features, I think, of it too, because you can search it out so easily. You know, you have Irida, you have your evolutions for the Drizziles, the Inteleons, and so when you need to get those knocks, and as long as you have a way to, you know, switch and still get the knock, it's extremely, extremely powerful, as displayed there in a very interesting way against Mewtwo V Union. Unfortunately for Tamao, they're just not able to get out the Mewtwo, you know.
Yeah. It really felt like one-ish turn too short or too late.
Yes.
You know, there were a couple turns there where it felt like if Tamao were able to get set up, maybe there was an opportunity there. But yeah, that Echoing Horn is just too powerful. Once your opponent gets down to a single prize card, you've almost certainly lost. You need to get this full setup before they get to one prize card. Otherwise, we saw exactly what happens. And most decks only play one Echoing Horn. I don't think anyone's crazy enough to play like 2 or 3 Echoing Horns.
I've seen it actually, Kyle. I've seen 2 horns, and I was like, that is wild.
Yeah.
That is so wild.
That's the way to counter this deck. Yeah, just play 4 Echoing Horns.
4 Echoing Horns? Oh my goodness. Yes, but I was actually walking around kind of looking at the player fields earlier, and there are so many Mewtwo V Unions that are in the field today. Both versions too, there's multiple iterations now. We do have the version we're seeing now from Tamao that is a little bit more stally, as we can see with the crushing hammers, the Gorman dies, like the draw support with that. But then we also have like an Arceus version as well of Mewtwo. So it's interesting to see, you know, who's playing what and why they decided to go with the version that they decided to go with, which is cool.
Yep. Clearly, Mewtwo V Union was the strongest one out of all the V Union.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We don't see any of the other ones get played.
And is it? I believe this Mewtwo is the only one we've actually seen at like a major event. I think too on stream, which is really cool. So Mewtwo fans, very happy out there right now.
I know after NAIC, people are experimenting like, oh, what other V Union can we use now? It's like Zacian and Greninja. It's like, no, let's just use.
They bend it real quick.
I've seen ones where people play like 3 different V Union in the same deck, and they're just trying to see how many they can get in play at the same time.
Absolutely. So we did see the prize cards there on Tamao's side. I saw the yellow horn. Was the original list, did that play yellow horn in it? Because I don't think I remember seeing yellow horn before. Yeah,
that's shown up in a lot of control decks just as a way to like annoy your opponent.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
It'd be another way if they don't have like a switching card. Maybe they miss a turn of attacking if they flip tails for confusion.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just another trick you can use to buy some time. Because if there's ever a turn where you don't have to use the healing attack with Mewtwo, it's huge. You can just attack and then take knockouts and kind of take the tempo back. So yeah, it's an interesting way to disrupt your opponent.
Yes, definitely. It's very fun to watch too. Both Pokemon become confused.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Hopping back into our second match here between Kai and Tamao. And we are starting on Tamao's side now, opting to go first this time, and getting that quick discard there with an energy and a piece of our Mewtwo V Union as well with an Ultra Ball. So searching out any Pokemon from the deck with that Ultra Ball.
Yep.
And checking prizes, of course, as well.
Almost feels like a quest or an achievement. You're like 1 out of 4 Mewtwo V Union.
Yeah.
3 more to do it.
That is very true. I'm sure hopefully a lot sooner. I'm sure that Marnie must have hurt so bad for Tamao.
I felt that one, yeah.
You know, because it goes straight to the bottom, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I need to start shuffling now. But we do see 2 Snorlaxes out on the fields here. 2 Snorlax, both ready to eat with their Gormandize ability here. And 1 energy attached to our Snorlax and straight into the Gormandize.
Drawing 3 cards.
Yep, just drawing 3, and now we are on Kai's side here. So let's see what the setup looks like this time for Kai. Last round was pretty good.
Yep.
For Kai, so let's see if we can see that again. I haven't seen the hand yet, but we're starting off with a Capacious Bucket, which allows Kai to search out 2 water energy from the deck.
Yep, so yeah, this Origin Form Palkia V-Star deck is probably the strongest deck in the standard format right now. You know, it's up there with the Arceus decks, and you know, it's not unbeatable or anything like that. We've, in fact, seen it lose a couple times on stream already, but it's just got so much going for it. It's got the consistency tools, even things like Capacious Bucket, where you have 1 item card to search for 2 energy. It's just card advantage, and it lets you work beautifully with things like the Drizzile Shady Dealing, gives you 1 energy to discard to Radiant Greninja's Concealed Cards ability, or you know, discard to a Quick Ball or something like that. It's just got all these little pieces that all add up and make a really fierce deck that's also extremely consistent. It's hard to beat.
Absolutely, yeah. So much variability with the deck as well. And because of its somewhat low energy cost, I guess you could say as well, it allows you to have more room for more technical cards like the Echoing Horn. as we saw before, which just allows you to strategize against a lot more of the field they're going to see, especially in day one, when you don't really know what you're going to be paired against as well. It's pretty important to be able to have some technical cards in there for certain matchups, and Origin Form Palkia is definitely one of those decks that allows you to do that for sure. So very strong.
Yeah, we just see the Rule of the Region. Just search for a stadium card.
Rule of the Region.
Not the greatest attack in the world, but gets you a card out of your deck, sure.
Very cool name.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it was the Path to the Peak that was searched out there for Kai. And now we are over back to Tamao on the search for more Mewtwo pieces. And we are seeing our second one here.
Halfway there.
How can we get it in the discard, though, is the next question for Tamao. And it looks like another Ultra Ball. So the leg, I believe that's the leg, hitting the discard there with a Miltank. Potentially, yes. Miltank's going down.
I think there's also a Professor's Research in hand, so
very nice.
This third one's going to hit the discard pile.
Oh, is the third piece in hand?
We're getting an Ultra Ball for the third one right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. We didn't resolve the Ultra Ball. Yeah. Ultra Balling for the hand.
Yep. So we'll see if Tamao can find the fourth one, and we could see the Mewtwo V-Union come out as soon as this turn.
All right, Galarian Mouth as well, hitting the bench here before we see the research.
Yep. And then Palpad to shuffle the Silene in for later.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you can utilize as many cards as possible before you throw them away. So that is definitely very important. Palpad for the Silene, and then we are going to see the research for another piece into the discard, and then a fresh 7 cards as well for Tamao. Maybe hits into some Crushing Hammers potentially too. We shall see.
Yeah, and with
two Silenes.
With the Galarian Meowth, if you draw the last piece, you can throw it in the discard right away. And let's see off the Pyukumuku.
The Twin Energy.
Not quite.
Yes. 2 Silenes in hand too, so not really what you want to see. I think that's a Palpad as well.
Yeah, kind of an ugly hand where you can't get rid of a whole lot of stuff. Oh, maybe there's... Yeah, just kind of throw away 2 cards with the Galarian Meowth.
I was about to say, at least Galarian Mouth is coming in clutch here for Tamao, throwing away some cards to be able to draw more cards off of Gourmandize, because, when you have cards in hand that you can't really use, you might as well, throw them away and make sure you can stack your hand with things that you can use, which is very important. So here we go. We see the Scoop Up net.
Yep, just going to burn it.
Yeah,
draw
burn
more
it.
Cards.
Drawing cards off the Gourmandize, which ends Tamao's turn, and going back into Kai here. So Kai, off of the Rule of the Region last turn, just taking a quick look through Tamao's discard pile here for Kai, seeing what has already been discarded. Resources on both of these players' sides are actually really important, both for Kai and Tamao, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of discard pile checks for both players. All right, evolving into that Shady Dealings Drizzile.
Yep, and I did see a Marnie in Kai's hand as well, so we could see the other, just what happened in game 1, a turn 2 attack plus Marnie, put the pressure on, and just hope your opponent is just devastated by your aggression plus hand disruption.
At least at this point, I don't think Tamao, I didn't really see what was drawn off of the Gourmandize, but I don't think the hand is super hot for Tamao this time, especially not as hot as last time with the 2 pieces of Mewtwo. But still, again, you don't know that when you're Kai.
It's an interesting one. We see the Shady Dealings for Irida to get a rare candy and quick shooting Inteleon. So just prioritizing getting this into play as quickly as possible. And wow, looks like just has everything. Evolution Incense to get the V-Star. I'm guessing a second energy as well. So this is just a picture-perfect start for Kai.
Again, yeah. Kai playing doesn't seem really nervous at all. Kai has been playing like almost flawlessly through these matches here.
What's there to be nervous about? Just cruising to victory here.
Yeah, cruising to victory on the world stage, baby. That's great. Okay, here we go. Kai, there we go. The energy attachment comes down onto that Origin Form Palkia V-Star in the active. And then we are going to see that quick shooting popping off here onto that benched Snorlax.
And then the Subspace Swell does take down the Snorlax. Now the pressure is on Tamao. Will Mewtwo V-Union make an appearance?
I think we're only missing one piece at this point, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
So we're definitely a lot closer now. I'm sure at this point, Tamao maybe was hoping for a Marnie almost, because I don't really see much in the hands here. Oh, but we do have the Silene, so going to flip 2. Oh my goodness, not
Double
like
tails.
this. Double tails off the Silene, never what you want to see.
Devastating. And now Tamao is in a precarious spot. You do need to bench another Pokemon here. Otherwise, you do open yourself up to Quick Shooting Inteleon plus the Radiant Greninja. Moonlight Shuriken can just wipe out your board, and that would be game over. So Tamao needs to bench another Pokemon here now.
Oof, yeah, that is very important. Rose Tower coming down, so at least we have a little bit of extra draw support if some cards can be burned down from the hand. I do think I see a Galarian Meowth
Yes.
in hand. Debating the Palpad right now.
Yeah, just how many cards can I get rid of? It won't come back to bite me later.
Palpadding for double Silene, always good choice there. Any sort of recovery supporter cards is always going to help you with this deck. And then we are going to see that Meowth here discarding the last 2 cards that were in hand and then having to shuffle.
Well, has successfully played the entire hand down, so now there's the option to use Rose Tower, draw 3 cards off of this. Tamao had quite a few cards to start the turn, but there are lots of ways to just burn through your hand with this deck. And
yeah, that is no accident there either. These players are very high-skilled players.
I saw the last.
I think I saw it. I think I saw it, Kyle.
But both Galarian Meowth abilities now have been used.
That is very true. And now, oh, that was off of a trekking shoes there.
Oh, quick ball.
So, oh, okay, so the trekking shoes actually pulled the research. Tamao decided to discard the research for the next card, and it was a quick ball, which is going to allow Tamao to discard that last piece of the Mewtwo V Union. Sequencing is so important with this deck. If there was any sort of misplay in sequencing there, Tamao might not be in the position that they are now. So that is some high-level skill play right there. It's great to watch.
Yep. Now this is the same situation as last game. All 4 pieces are in the discard pile, but there's no way for Tamao to attack with Mewtwo V Union this turn. So no reason to put it in play just yet. You want to wait for that turn where you're going to attack with it. That way you can charge it up with Union Gain and then be set up to constantly heal with that super regeneration.
But I'm sure you feel a lot safer, you know, having options
yes.
at least. Unlike the last match we saw, especially at this point in time when Tamao was able to even summon the Mewtwo V Union. Kai was at 1 prize card, you know, so now Kai has only taken 1 prize card. So Tamao in a much different position than the last match with the ability to summon that Mewtwo, and now just playing into kind of the second half of the strategy of this deck.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot for Kai. Obviously, at some point, we'll see Radiant Greninja come into play, but I don't think you want to do it right now because then Tamao just needs 2 scoop up nets to pick up all the other Pokemon. Ooh, Marnie is going to be a big one here. But yeah, I think if I were in this situation, I would be looking to take 1 knockout on a Snorlax, and then on the following turn, try to get the Radiant Greninja, get the 2 other prize cards, and then kind of go from there. You know, you want to do that double knockout when it puts you in that position to be at 1 prize card. Then your opponent's in a tough spot. They can't really get around the Echoing Horn. If you do it too early, then they're able to scoop up net all their Pokemon and just present the Mewtwo V Union. And you don't have enough Echoing Horns to deal with that.
That's true. Just a lot more high-level skill plays here. I mean, prize mapping is huge for this matchup as well, as Kyle just explained. So that's definitely what we're seeing here now. Playing into all of their outs, Kai needs to make sure that they can take the win in the most seamless way possible, essentially, at this point. Because as you said, Kyle, once the Mewtwo comes down and is just a big, beefy wall that you're playing against, it can get a lot scarier for sure. Yeah.
Well, the other thing in Kai's favor is, of course, the time limit. Take a look. There are under 7 minutes left in the round at this point. this could certainly be one of those situations where Tamao might be favored to win if we were playing the entire game out, but it's going to take a long time for Mewtwo V Union to kind of chew through this Palkia deck, and this is one of those spots where one of the curses of playing a deck like this is if you lose the first game, it takes so long to win games that you can't really win the match if you lost the first game. So even though it's a very powerful strategy, it's got very good matchups. If you ever do kind of hiccup and lose an early game, because it takes so long for you to win, it's hard for you to actually win a match. So that's one of the risks you take when you play a deck like this. Just one of the downsides of the kind of time limits and the constraints we're in playing in a physical tournament.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's definitely true. So a lot of things just happened there. There was, a Capacious Buckets. I saw, I think it was an Evolution Incense, an Irida as well. The Greninja. Oh, there was a Quick Ball for the Radiant Greninja, which we did see an energy discarded to draw 2 more cards there. Training Court is now in play. So just to catch everybody up here on what's been going on. And now we are going to see the quick shooting Inteleon pop off here onto that Snorlax in the active position.
Okay, looks like Kai
here we go.
is going to go for the double knockout turn right now.
Looks like that's what we are going to see. So we are first scoop up net there, re-benching the Sobble for Kai, but of course with that V-Star ability.
Enter the Star Portal.
Entering the Star Portal, I like that, Kyle. That's good. Seeing all 3 of those energies attached onto the Radiant Greninja, which is going to be able to hit both the active and the bench as well, or both the bench.
Yeah,
you just do 90 on anything pretty much on 2 different ones.
Yeah,
so.
May as well just take out both Galarian and Meowth. Snorlax is a bit harder to move, kind of blocks the way with that big retreat cost.
It's getting chipped out by the Inteleon, the quick shooting Inteleon as well, which is good. But here we go. So now we are back over to Tamao after that double knockout there from Kai. So Kai's now down to 3 prize cards left. And now we are seeing, I don't think we've seen a single Crushing Hammer yet from Tamao. I mean, at this point, I guess it could actually make some, I mean, there's no energy on, or actually there's 1 energy on the board state right now. Or sorry, 2.
Double heads on the Silene.
Is that what it is? Oh, double heads on the Silene. So allowing Tamao to grab 2 cards out of the discard pile and putting them on the top of the deck in whichever order as well. So
yeah, Tamao is just trying to line up a guaranteed energy attachment. The Silene puts the twin energy on top. There's a Trekking Shoes in hand already.
There we go.
Just go ahead and draw it, and we will finally see the Mewtwo V Union turn.
We did see a Crushing Hammer, but unfortunately it failed there. So here we go. It was the Trekking Shoes into the Rose Tower to actually be able to utilize that as well and bump that Training Court Stadium. And here we go.
Been assembled. Here
Mewtwo V Union assemble.
All right. All 4 pieces will be pushed up to the active spot.
That Snorlax that was being whittled away is now gone.
There's the Union gain. Get the 2 psychic energy back, and you could just see how much space that takes on the table.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's ginormous there. Okay, there for Kai. All right, starting off with an Irida here, so allowing Kai to search out a water Pokemon and an item card here. Definitely going for that Capacious Bucket. As I was saying before, the Crushing Hammers are actually sort of relevant at this point because the V-Star ability has already been used from Origin Form Palkia, so energy is, you kind of want to be conserving that at this point, especially because all of it went to the Greninja and then discarded back. So, but we are going to be seeing energy onto most likely that Origin Form Palkia as well. But now, again, we're dealing with a big, bulky wall of a Pokemon, the Mewtwo V Union, that has the ability to heal itself or hit you for 300 damage, which is quite the pickle there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, time is winding down. I think, you know, for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of experiencing the Mewtwo V Union deck at this point, you'll get a taste of what kind of the game plan is at this point. But yeah, time is just running out. It's unfortunate, but you know, Kai won the first game. It's going to take who knows how many more turns for Tamao to win this game.
We have 1 minute, 14 seconds on the clock here now. So
yeah.
that is definitely a tricky situation for Tamao to be in. But as you said, Kyle, if you can't get that first game, you're kind of in a very sticky situation playing Mewtwo V Union, which is just kind of one of the downfalls, unfortunately, of the deck. And I'm sure Kai's still not letting anything shake them either. Still playing pretty flawlessly here.
Yep.
Scooping up that, retreating that Radiant Greninja, and then just attacking with the subspace swell. They're on to the Mewtwo V Union, back over to Tamao. So if we do go into time, as it was said before, because we did go into time a couple of our other matches, there will be 3 additional turns, and it starts on whichever player is currently in their turn. So it'd be 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yep. And you can see kind of the brilliance of this deck. One of the things Palkia preys on, as we see the Crushing Hammerheads.
Crushing Hammer, let's go. Oh, another Crushing Hammer. Oh,
okay.
Does it count?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that counts. I think they're debating it.
Yeah, that one should count.
But that would definitely hurt. A second Crushing Hammer there.
Yep.
Oh, they are reroll. Oh, it hit anyway. There we go.
Yep.
Luck is on Tamao's side right now.
Okay,
so.
and yeah, here you can see kind of the brilliance of this deck. You've now cleared your field of any Pokemon. It's just Mewtwo V Union versus the world, and the subspace swell attack on Palkia V-Star does more damage for each benched Pokemon on both sides. So when you have no Pokemon on your bench, you're severely limiting the damage output of that subspace swell to a point where they can't do enough to kind of get past that 200 healing from super regeneration. And once you get to that point, the Mewtwo V Union deck plays cards like Silene and Team Yell's Cheer, ways to just infinitely get cards back into the deck. And eventually your opponent's just going to deck out and lose. They're going to run out of cards, and in the Pokemon TCG, if you have no cards in your deck at the start of your turn, you lose.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the long game goal. Unfortunately, when you have 0 seconds left in the round, it's not enough time. But
at least we got to see it come to fruition here at this point, so that everyone watching at least gets the overall strategy down. And I'm sure we potentially could see more of this deck show up throughout the day as well. I mean, as I said, there's so many people out there playing it in the field, so we shall see. But we're
going to see the Echoing Horn. This is a way to boost the damage a little bit of Subspace Swell, force your opponent to put a Pokemon onto their bench. It's also another target for you to take a knockout on, but at this point, I think you're just trying to beef up how much damage you're doing. You got the choice
attaching
belt.
the choice belt.
Got the quick shooting in there. So in theory, you could get to a point where you're kind of outracing the healing of 200 every turn.
That's very true. We have seen the quick shooting out, each game for Kai, so that definitely is a part of the strategy, I'm sure.
Oh,
there we go.
Jammer. That will stop that.
That stops that choice belt real quick, unfortunately. And any other tool that is in the active position for Kai as well, but really just the choice belt at this point.
Yep. And we did note time has been called.
Okay.
Kai was turn 1. Tamao's actually on turn 2 already, so I believe this will be Tamao's last turn to do anything. You can at least say, hey, I was gonna win this game, right?
Go big or go home. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Do see the fist bump again.
And that means Kai will advance to 3-0 here at the World Championships. Our player from Japan putting on an excellent display with that Origin Form Palkia V-Star deck.
Yeah, seeing happiness on the screen right now, too. Always great to see, especially, these players are on the world stage. There's so much pressure up there, and Kai performed exceptionally. Still, under all that pressure, I'm sure fist bumping over to the friend group, the testing group, who knows, but I'm sure very happy with that performance on the stage. Mewtwo, unfortunately, falling a little bit short there. As you can see, as we've talked about multiple times now, slipping up even just a little bit and missing that first game is very detrimental when you are the Mewtwo V-Union player. But that doesn't mean it's always lost on the Mewtwo V-Union player. You know, I have seen recovery games before where it's been tied up as well, but still you're kind of in a sticky situation going into even a third match too. And with how important ties are for day one too, you really do not want to take a tie if you have the option. So it's going to be interesting seeing so many Mewtwo's out there in the field. I do not envy the mirror match as well, Kyle.
Yeah, that seems like a recipe for 50 minutes with no winner.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure Ross and Joe touched on it a little bit, but the Worlds format is a unique one for the first day of competition. You essentially just need to reach a certain number of match points, and once you do that, you advance